Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
Peace and power, my family. This is Master Force with Mu Shemsu-t, and I am Mu Shemsu-t. Thank you for joining me again for another wonderful episode. Today, we are speaking with a friend, an associate, even a coach sometimes for me. And today, we are speaking to the Bliss Boss. So let me bring to the stage my dear friend, Felicia. Hello, Chief Bliss Boss.
Bliss, and aloha.
Aloha. Absolutely aloha. Yes. So now tell us where you are, where you're greeting us in aloha. I love this.
So giving thanks and praises. I am in Hawaii now. Mm-hmm. So grateful and thankful to be on the island of Hawaii in Oahu, Honolulu. And it's exciting. And each one of you have an opportunity to join us. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, we're inviting each and every one of you to have an experience here with us in Hawaii.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know that we have such a great history together. But before we get into that, I'd like for you to tell people who you are, what you do, you know, and all of those amazing things so they can know why we vibe so good together.
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of the podcast. I am Ms. Felicia Muhammad, and I am one of many roles. I am Chief Bliss Officer with Oneness Wellness Lifestyles Foundation. All right. And for the past 25 years or so, maybe almost, probably 26, 27 years now, I have been committed and purposefully committed to helping people know how to activate the body's ability to self-heal. And that has shown up in many different ways through many different modalities, right? And being committed to first helping people understand their purpose, which was how I got started with my questioning to God, as I knew him then, sitting in the projects in my closet, asking God, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? Has empowered me and has been revealed to me, and is a daily unveiling. Thank you. A daily unveiling of what that looks like and the different reiterations of it and up-leveling of how it shows up, right? And so I am committed to helping people, again, as I stated, know how to activate the body's ability to self-heal, knowing and how to do that and having fun with it, right? And so
yes, that's the part, the bliss part.
Yes. And so I with Oneness Wellness Lifestyle, the foundation, we are using all natural skincare. We have a toxin-free product, skincare, that helps us to be able to have the conversation with people, to begin to open up the pathway for people to see that they actually have everything that they need. You know, within, as Dr. Jewel says, you have everything you need within 8 feet around you. And I didn't believe it at first, and it's really true. And so when I really just was present with it and was truthful about what I really need, right? So that's another whole deep dive. But nevertheless, use the skincare, all natural toxin-free skincare, as a pathway of least resistance to be able to have the conversation with people and getting them to see for themselves that, yes, okay, let me look at this from this perspective. And so as we evolve through that, working with different people, I was definitely in my own transformation as well, and began supporting myself and others to, when we come to those stuck points, being able to get unstuck. So I then became certified in a technology that supports us to know how to communicate with the subconscious mind. And so my framework for that technology is called shit shifting. And it is an acronym, and it is meant to get your attention, hence the shit, which is an acronym for self-healing inner talk. And so using that modality on top of and helping people to know how to think differently about what they think about and be open to seeing it different. And when they get stuck, then we're able to support them even further with being able to know how to uncover those core limiting beliefs and negative self-talk that is keeping them stuck and not being able to move forward. So that's a little bit of it. And we have a financial component to that too. So everything that we do and everything that I do is definitely covers 3 areas, because when one of these 3 areas are affected, they affect the others. So it's your money, your relationships, and your health, right? And so when one of those areas break down, it definitely affects the others. And most of the time, for majority of the people, it's always the money that's the first one. So we address it from those different areas.
The universe is always going to use one of those elements to get our attention for us to go in. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, let me ask you a question about that. So you stated that you work with people in moments where the force, it no longer works in the world that's hustle with hustle. Mm-hmm. How do you help high performers recognize the difference between productive effort and counterproductive effort?
I'm so glad you asked the question that way. So let me give you a little back story and I'll make it short. So
take your time.
Over the last maybe 3 months or so, right? Since we've been doing this for so long, right? And have experienced, the marketing and what they say you should do and what you shouldn't do, and, all the things, right? And finding that 3 months ago, and it's really just been evolving. It's really been evolving. 3 months ago, we decided that we were no longer trying to convince people. We were no longer trying to fix people. We were no longer selling transformation. We were no longer selling it in that way. All right. And so does that mean we are not we don't have services to offer? No, we do. We do have that. More importantly, what we recognize is that we are now choosing to magnetize the people whose soul is speaking to them, and it supports them in recognizing the next step that they should make based off of the information that they're hearing or whoever they're listening to, this type of thing. All right. So as well, in that same experience, we recognize that too often we have been programmed to compartmentalize everything. It's either this or it's that. You got to do this or that. If you don't do this, then you can't do that. And I'm here to just tell you straight up that you can have it all.
Come on.
You can have it all. And so we recognize that this compartmentalization and this cognitive dissonance is really the undoing of how we're created and why in such a time as this, that is now time for people who have an ear to hear it and have a heart and knows that something else is missing and it's got to be more to it than this, right? Yes. Or it doesn't have to be as hard as this, right?
Yes.
And being able to recognize that when you stay in present moment awareness, that you are able to be honest, when you are able to be honest with yourself too, because that's a key. You get to choose to be honest with yourself, or you can continue to have the program or the lie or the perspectives and what you want to believe. You know, you can have all of that. You have free will, right? And what we're inviting you to participate in is being honest with yourself and checking in to what's really true for you. And so when you look at that question, what we help people to be able to recognize is just that. Look at what's purposeful for you right now. Does this serve you? Does it benefit you? Is this truly what you want to do? Or do you have somebody else in your head saying what you should do?
Come on.
And so when you're able to have the, Mr. Farrakhan say, the testicular fortitude, when you got the balls to be honest with yourself,
right.
You know, the courage to be honest with yourself, then the weight is lifted from the pressure of trying to live up to what others are saying you should do, what society is saying you should do, and return to the essence of what you know is true for you and what really brings you joy. And so being and it's not well, let me just say what it is. It is a journey. It's a process.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. And it's a matter of what we take people through is literally being able to ask what's true for you in this moment right now. What is true for you in this moment right now? We don't ask them to share it out loud. You know, some want to, they can. We can support them in really digging deep and asking some questions and being able to do it. And this is really key. Do it from an observer, as an observer, not from judgment.
Observing without judging.
Exactly.
Being
no
able to say
judgment.
what it is. It's not good, bad, or ugly. It just is.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yes. And being able to know, and being able to have the courage to do that is breaking away at the foundation of programming that many of us have had for years.
I meet so many people
to do that.
That's right. That what they're doing is what they've been told to do by their parents, by their mates, by society, my grandmother, and there's no understanding of self.
Right. And, you know, and we honor our parents, we honor them because they did the best that they could with the information that they had.
That's right.
They did, right? Yes. And many of us are, those of us who are having those type of experiences and know and asking the question, you know, what else is possible? You know, even though they done sold out or they working a job for the money, right? But they're not really fulfilled and they know something is missing.
Yes.
And because they're still in the rat race of, you know, doing what needs to be done and, you know, feeling like they're doing what needs to be done. And in many cases they are, you know, doing what they believe needs to be done and what they've been taught and what they've been told.
It's part of their truth. It's part of their truth for now.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Because that's a part of the programming that is a fact for them now, right? These are the facts. I got to be able to provide for my family. I got to be able to take care of myself, and we know that people who come to us, come in our atmosphere and arena and your atmosphere and arena, that they are ready for a major change, whether they recognize it or not. They may not know the intensity of it, but their soul, by the time they get to us, their soul is calling out and be like, we got to do something different. And they may not have expressed it or said it, but these are the subtle thoughts and the prayers that they're asking for. And they don't even realize that it's doable, and it can be very natural for them. And so that's a part of what we do with high net worth individuals. And even those high achieving, because you can be high achieving and not necessarily have all the money you need right now, quote unquote. Absolutely.
Right. Because of the blocks too.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. So that's how we do that. That's the framework for it. And we allow because we stay in present moment awareness, and we're also listening to what they're saying and what's not being said, right? Because in every problem is the solution.
Yes.
In every problem is the solution. So just that right there helps us to be able to know and verifies and validates that, again, you have everything you need within you. It's just a matter of us being able to have the courage to go there.
Now you're speaking a little bit to this. How do you bridge the gap for skeptical professionals who want to understand the practical side of energy work? They almost don't even want you to talk about spiritual essence.
Right. So, okay. The practical side. All right. So when we look at helping people with the practical side, this left brain, right? The analytical, right? It's the science, right? Math, right? I got to be able to see it and all of that, right? So when we help people recognize the practicality of it, it's as simple as let me think of an example. Give me an example of the practicality of the energy work. Okay, thank you. So grateful. So when we look at a thought, right? So for example, when you think of somebody and they call, what is that? That's energy. I mean, you had the thought, but you hadn't picked up the phone and called. It was a thought. It was a thought first, and that thought traveled so fast, and then they call you, and you're like, I was just thinking about you. It can't get no more practical than that. Another example, right? What about when you have this gut feeling? You have this gut feeling, this voice, and people always say, something told me not to go that way. Something told me. Something. Give the credit where credit is due. Whether you believe in God, Jesus, Buddha, Zorro, Tao, or you're atheist, the energy is always present. It's unseen, right? And by the mere fact, as we have these lights, that's proof. So, I really strive to keep it simple and not oversimplify it. Like who was that? Albert Einstein said simple, but not simpler, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And, and most time, a lot of the skeptics, we support them with being able to take an example for themselves and see how it applies. Something that is, and I can't, it's not coming to me, another example that we have had with some skeptics, because at this point, like I said earlier, we are not trying to convince nobody. At this point, we're not trying to convince you. We honor your skepticism, and we encourage you, keep listening, keep tuning in. Let's keep having a conversation. Let's keep exploring what else is possible so they can prove it to themselves. And that's why I said earlier, relative to them being able to feel their soul and what is your soul saying to you, and then take the steps to explore that soulful message, that hit that your soul is providing.
Can you think of a client that you worked with where you were able to have them be present to their shift, their stuff, and they were able to actually shift in a way that they saw their business change just because they dropped that baggage or let it go, or just were able to see themselves in the problem? Or
yes, as a matter of fact, I have a client that I'm working with now, as a matter of fact, and she is let's see, without telling everything. Okay, so she's in a space where she didn't,
right?
Yeah. Because I mean, you know her. So
I'm even trying to think I know her.
So okay, this one. Let me go to this one. Okay, so this one, she has verbally acknowledged and knows that she tries to control everything, right? And she puts everything and everybody before herself. All right. And so with her money, she had a real big breakthrough in this money area when we were working around her beliefs relative to the money and not being enough, right? They're not being enough, and having to have some stability, right? And so while she's having this stability and being able to take care of everything else, putting all the bills and the children, the husband, everything before her, right? She realized that in her capacity to take care of everybody else, how she was negating herself. Okay. And so as we were working through this, because it was all about being in control, and this was such a brain fart, if I could say that. It was like, it didn't make sense. It's counterintuitive, right? You would think, you take care of yourself, you take care of your family, and you benefit from that. But she was not the benefit that she, and I won't say only, the benefit that she was having is that, yes, she was doing what she's been programmed to do as a mother, right? Take care of your family, take care of your children. They are first. Where when she was able to recognize this control piece that connected to her having to make sure and do everything, when she was able to let that go and recognize that that was also contributing to some of the pain that she was having in her neck, because she was operating from a space where she didn't want to make some of the same mistakes that her parents made, right? So she was overdoing it. And I can say that because that's what she said. She was overdoing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pain in the neck.
Yes. And she was so rigid in that belief that it had to be, she had to do it this way. If she did it any other way, then she went into judgment of herself. She went into not being good enough, right? And getting depressed and all of this. And when we got to the root of this control, that's when she was able to start to loosen up and treat herself, because there was things that she wanted to do.
Yes.
Right. And having a husband, you know, and children, she felt obligated to pay half. And I mean, and I have my own perspective on that. I have my own perspective on that, and I honor where people are, right?
Yes.
So again, helping her stay, and me staying in present moment awareness and not being triggered myself, right? Because every time I'm working with people, it's helping me as well. And
our mirrors are right there. They're right. The mirror is right there. If you're present, you can get your own work handled in the moment.
In the moment, right. And so she was able to begin to treat herself and realize that if she's not here, then what they gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, and that control that she had, it was out of insecurity. It was out of insecurity. And she was able to acknowledge that, you know, and that's the beauty of this work, because it is intuitive work, right? It's intuitive work, and it is work that supports them in being able to uncover and tap into the body connection, the relationship with the body, and where it's showing up, where they may have discomfort when they are talking about these things, right? To support them to be able to see how it's all connected. Does that make sense?
Girl, it makes a lot of sense. I was just thinking when you were talking about a pain in the neck, Louise Hay says that pain means you can't look to see what's the other perspective. What else should I be seeing? What else can I be paying attention? You can't turn your head. Right. So the pain sets in, right? Because you have to, it's right here. I know what I'm doing. I can get it done, and I don't want to see anybody else's perspective.
And you block the flow of that energy, because the energy it keeps moving. And
whether you want it to or not, yes.
Right. And when there's a block there, then it's going to just exacerbate that, because it's still going to keep moving. It's going to keep forming a bigger block.
Yes, that's a great.
And just expands to other areas, you know, in your life, in your relationships, in your society, and you know, because it affects everything.
It affects everything.
Everything.
Now, I want you to bring that down, that same block, into how people create those same blocks financially. You know, within their personal life, within their business life. You know, though, because energy, because currency, money, it's an energy.
Yes, exactly.
You know, now, do you have some of those examples of how we can actually begin to see in ourselves how to release those?
Yes. Well, so myself, for an example, as to how I got started in this work.
Okay.
Because I was, and it was something I didn't even realize that it was experiencing. And so what was happening in my life in Chicago in 2013, I'm a hairstylist. And at this time, like in 1995, I had started helping people go natural before it became popular. And so I continued that process with my clients, you know, taking people from relaxers to natural, right? That transition. And that meant that they didn't have to come back every 2 weeks or every week. They were coming back every 3 weeks, sometimes a month. I was showing them how to do it for themselves, and they can do it at home. You know, you would think, but no, I'm wanting them, because when you sat in my chair, it was like going to the doctor's office. I'm asking you how much water you're drinking, how much sugar you're eating, what type of food you're eating, what's the objective we have for our hair, right? And so, because most people didn't make the connection that your hair is an extension of you, and it's also, it has it's an antenna, right? And that what you put in your mouth, what you feed your body nourishes your hair or not, right? And so most people didn't make that connection. And so at that time, so as I was doing that, my income was decreasing, right? And so with this decrease came, I wasn't making as much, and I was doing my healing work too, but people were still a little, oh, that's kind of woo-woo, too woo-woo, that's too far out there for me right now. And I got it, I understood. And so I was getting ready to be evicted. Many people don't know this. I was getting ready to be evicted. And so I'm praying. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Because I am standing up behind a chair, normally 16 hours a day, and making it, And I was doing weaves and all that type of thing, hair, what they call it, protective services, And so for the hair, protective styles. And when I was getting ready to be evicted, I was like, okay, Allah, what is going on? And so, I'm looking, I'm doing what I normally do because it has always worked for me. I'm asking questions and then I'm getting answers. I came across this program called Unleash Your Inner Millionaire. And so I signed up for the program, and it was an online program, and he explained the procedure, he explained the process and what we were going to do. And then we went through, I could say, at least 100 different blocks around money. And so I discovered that I had a scarcity mentality, a scarcity consciousness, pardon me, more specifically, a scarcity consciousness. And I was shocked. And in truth, though, as I reflected back on it, I could see, because scarce means not enough, right? And so then as I reflected back over my life to see where that was showing up, where it didn't seem like there was enough, and I was always holding on to things because, oh, I might need it. Scarcity. And so 2 days later, that was on a Friday night. No, that was on a Thursday night, pardon me. 2 days later, my income increased by 20%.
I can believe that. Hold on. We're going to take a quick break, and I want you to tell us about that. Hold on. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to come right back. Thank you. So, I thought you were going to say 3 days because that's the magic number, but you did it in 2 days. Now,
48 hours.
Yes, come on.
Yep, 48 hours. And I was like, okay. And then after that happened, I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. I signed up for the class, got the certification, went all the way to the instructor, certification, and immediately started offering these sessions. And I was doing complimentary sessions just so people could have their own experience with it.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Yep, have their own experience with it and see it for themselves. And that's where I met Thank you. So this is taking me back to the skepticism now. So now this is where, when I would take people through the process, they would do everything in their power to stop the body from moving, right? And they couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop it when we would ask these questions based off of these beliefs. And we just did basic questions. We call it Healing 101, right? So for example, I know what joy feels like, right? Or I know what unconditional love is. I know what unconditional love feels like. I am worthy, right? So just basic, real common, not too deep, not personal, right? Things that you would do in a private session, just basic beliefs that we know we all can relate to, right? And when the body was moving in one direction and they're like, well, I thought I had it. So that would open up the curiosity. That would open up the curiosity, and they would be willing to be like, wow, this is amazing. Let me look more into this. And so that is what occurred for me personally. And because I had that experience, then after I got my certification, then I created a program called Your Relationship Currency. Yes. And looking at the stuff that's weighing you down. So I used to say, I'm your spiritual life and business development facilitator, helping you know how to transform the stuff that is weighing you down, right? That baggage, right? And you have the fear. You got the baggage of the fear. You got the baggage of not being worthy. You carrying all this baggage, right? So yeah, so that's what happened for me. Another client, she as a matter of fact, so one of my most recent clients, we've been working together for a long time, and so she's been consistently doing the work, doing the practice, and now she's in a space where her whole goal is to replace the income that she has on the job so that she can really do what she loves doing with her books, right? So she has her number that when she gets this number, then she's stepping away. She's good. Right. Well, the girl started stepping away and haven't gotten the number yet. She's it because the way that things are flowing for her, as we've been working through the limiting beliefs around the money and how it all connects to, as you were stating earlier, your relationships, your health. What does that look like with these limiting beliefs? So when we are having lower back pain, that's connected to not feeling not financially supported. Exactly. So how that shows up in your business, those blocks show up in your business as self-sabotage, and I'll give you a perfect example for myself, okay? Because I recognize it so clear. Due to the fact that as you continue on this journey, and I want everybody to recognize and know, be easy on yourself, give yourself some grace. As long as you can wake up the next day, you have another opportunity to do it again and do it better. All right, than you did the day before. All right, so you are always in what I call a spirit of redemption. All right, so because as you are on this journey and each level gets higher and higher, now you're having different experiences on different levels that are supporting you as all of the stuff that's connected to the blocks, the residual effects are starting to now be removed as you are being more aware and in present time with these blocks and this awareness, and you're working through it. Okay. And so I recognize with self-sabotage, where when you have a client or a person who wants to work with you, I had a client that wanted to work with me, and she said yes. I delayed in sending her the invoice to begin. That's self-sabotage. That's how it can show up in your business. When you still,
that's a good one.
When you still have some mind stuff going on,
Yes.
Something's still connected to it, Ain't quite, fell off yet, right? Of that limiting belief that she said, yes, so go ahead. Go ahead and send her the invoice, whether it's not being organized enough.
Whatever
okay?
it is. Yeah.
Whatever it is. And in my case, that's what it was. I was like, oh my God, I gotta go create and I know I'm doing this, so why don't I already have that created? Well, of course, you better believe it's created now. It's all systematized. It is definitely systematized.
And that's why it shows up too, Miss Felicia. It shows up because we forget that we're ready. Oh, where's that echo coming from? Do you hear that?
I don't hear it.
So that's a really great example. And I wanted to ask you, when you're talking about this whole idea that when you're working with people and helping with their money, how do you move them into also remembering that the care of their temple is just as important as taking care of their finances? Because you talked about money, relationships, in the physical.
Right.
To me, the physical has to be so healthy before you can even get to the money.
Yeah, and thank you for asking that question. Because due to the fact that really helping people understand that they are the real value. You are the real value. And that when we give our power away to the money, that's where we shoot ourselves in the foot. So I want you to breathe right now and forgive yourself and give yourself a hug, and forgive yourself for shooting yourself in the foot and giving away your power to the money, because you are the real value. You are the real value. And so when we are helping people recognize this, we support them with looking at what is it that means the most to you. Because some people in truth have an issue with self-love, really. And so that's the deeper conversation, and really being able to look at what's blocking you from truly loving yourself. Who told you you were not worthy? Who has said to you that you have to sell your soul in order to make a living, to get this money? You can't do what you love and get paid doing it. Who told you that? Right? And so when we recognize that we are the real value, right, then being able to know that money that you are making straight up off the top should be 10% should be coming to yourself. You should be doing something for yourself every time you get some money. Every time you get some money, you should be doing something for yourself. Take that 10% off the top for yourself. Take your 10% off the top for whatever charity or tithing you're going to do. And then everybody else can get what they're going to need. Take another 10% and invest, right? And invest in something that's going to keep growing for you, right? So you don't have to work as hard for the money. You begin to work smart, and it works for you because it's a currency. It keeps moving. And you can have it in an investment model that keeps it moving, right? So you have I call it the envelope method. And it's what many people call it the envelope method, right? Where you are taking this money and you are doing something for yourself. All right. For me, I love buying shoes. And one thing for sure about me is that regardless to whom or what, I'm going to have my nutritionals. I'm going to have my nutritionals. Okay, so it's me, my tithing, my charity, my nutritionals, that's in the top 3 in my investments. That's gonna keep growing. So I can have me some mailbox money or some internet money, right?
That's exactly
And
right.
so it's really the self-love as to, that really is a part of the issue as to why they don't make the connection with their money and their body. Because again, if you are not able to do what you do, then you can't make the money. You have to take care of the vessel in order to continue to generate that energy.
That's very beautiful too. I think that we've been taught so much about being selfish that we forget to put ourselves and keep ourselves in the equation.
Yeah.
Like it's a part of being, we hear it all the time, you can't give from an empty cup. So what does that mean? It means fill up your cup first.
Right. Put your mask on first before you put your baby mask on, right? You got to put your mask on first.
Exactly. Yeah. And then having the ability to share, I think we want to look like we can do it before we can. It's like, it's okay to not do. Right. But you take care. That sustainability has to be at home first.
Right. Right. Exactly. And I want to say that it was something I know when we worked together a while back. And thank you so much for I was so grateful to have my mentor to let me support her. Such a beautiful experience.
I remember too. And if we're remembering the same thing, and because if we remember the same thing, I had a huge breakthrough in understanding that I can't take everybody with me. Everybody ain't going. Do you remember? Is that the one you were talking about?
Yep, exactly. You were way across the world somewhere.
Oh my God. And it was so hard to get. Yeah, because I called you. I think it was like, look. Right. And it was just like, everybody can't come with you, Mu.
Right. Yeah.
And then just really having to let that go. Yeah. Like I'm not here to save people.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a difference, but you're not here to save people. Yeah.
Yeah. And that experience supported me in being able to recognize how this work really helps people help themselves. Mm-hmm. As I'm a facilitator of it, and what I am committed to at this particular moment is my goal for September of 2026 is to help certify at least 1,000 people in this technology so that they can help themselves and be able to help those who they know, like, love, and trust. Right?
Absolutely.
Yes, because it's such a simple process that can be taken for granted, and it's really, for me, it has really been able to help people see the connection and reestablish the connection that they have with their body.
Yes.
And it really, okay, so thank you. So what I'm being told is that it really supports them in reconnecting to their body and the essence of what the body's capability that it has to support them. Because the body is always talking to us, it's always communicating with us, and we so busy doing everything else, we're not paying attention. And then by the time we go to a doctor or a hospital, and the model that they're judging us on is we're 6 times sicker.
Come on.
When it's simply, and it really is this simple, that when you have a discomfort, or you may know it as pain, right? What I simply do is I ask, okay, what are you saying to me? What I need to know? What I'm listening. Okay, what we doing? What I need to pay attention to?
Yeah, what am I resisting?
Yep. And then, of course, from there, beginning to, of course, do the due diligence and look at, my water intake, or what are my thoughts? That's the first place I go, because everything begins with the thinking, and you know that just from how you were able to heal yourself, and I love that story. So yeah, that. And it's people nowadays have it so much, they have access to so much more than what we had back then.
Yes.
We're really pioneers in all this stuff because we were doing it before before it became so popular.
I know, right? And I was so glad. I said, wow, I don't have to teach so much because the world now has caught up.
Yep.
I can relax a little bit. Everybody knows meditation, breathing, nutrition. It's all.
Yes.
And this is something we were doing, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. This is, I love this conversation, and I guess I'm gonna have to bring you back because we didn't even get into all the stuff that we thought we were get into.
Right.
But I want you to tell people, how they can get in touch with you. You spoke about your September program. Give them more information about that. So that does that mean we come to Hawaii? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought about it for that. But yes, to culminate it. So, all right. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So I would love to engage with each and every one of you that you are recognizing your soul's calling to be like, yeah, let's look into this. Let's get some more information. Let's see what's she doing and what is this all about. So you can follow me on social media, Felicia Muhammad. I'm at Power of Oneness on Instagram. If you just Google Felicia Muhammad, I will come up. And I'm not the therapist. It's another Felicia Muhammad. That's the therapist. But I'm Power of Oneness. POWEROF, the number 1, NESS. And you can also visit FeliciaMuhammad.com and definitely visit that. We have some information on there about the skincare and, of course, the research. I am an international author now and international speaker with research that has been published internationally on the science of mental resilience and how taking a bath can support you in that. And so you can definitely follow us, Oneness Wellness Lifestyles, on all of the social media platforms. That's Oneness Wellness Lifestyles. And you can Google that too. And this is definitely what we have coming up Thursday. We have the listening room, and it is an offshoot in preparation for our next summit that is coming up the day I decided to take back my wellness summit. And it is scheduled for March the 27th through the 28th. And we also have a listening room that you can participate on in this Thursday. That'll be out on our social media platforms. There's no charge. It's no fixing, no giving your opinion. We're just listening and knowing that our story is somebody else's medicine. So we're just listening and being present as people share their stories, and we look at what we can take away from that so it can support us in our own healing process. Yes. So the day I decided to take back my wellness summit, you can visit TBMW, summit.live to get all the information. And I look forward to joining you. I'm on TikTok, Power Oneness _insights, Instagram, Power of Oneness, Facebook, Felicia Muhammad, and LinkedIn. Yeah, all the things. Yep, all the things. So yeah, thank you. I'm excited, and I would love to come back.
Yes, I would love for you to come back. And I am just so grateful that the universe has put such amazing people in my life.
Yes.
I remember one guy told me, he said, Mooch, the reason that people like to invite you to stuff is because they know that you're going to come in with a whole tribe of beautiful, gorgeous women. I said, oh, I didn't even think about it like that. And I was telling one of my girlfriends, she said, well, you do know that includes you. And I said, oh, I didn't think about it. But the mirror, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes forget that we too, that the people in our life represent who we are at the heart level.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
At the heart level, the beauty,
Yes.
the vibration, and all of that is
Yes.
not just how you look, but how you be.
Yes. Yes.
You know.
Yes,
And,
for sure.
yeah, and you're one of those people, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that whenever I reach out to you, you're a yes.
Same here.
You know, and I remember the trip we did to St. Croix. We were trying to figure out, did we figure out when that was?
Yes, it was 2016. It was July 20, it was June 2015.
Yeah.
2016.
And I think I was doing a seminar on this Your Circle of Wealth.
Yes.
You know, and most people think that wealth is just the money part. Right. But it has a lot to do with the people in your life.
Yeah, that's the real currency. Yeah, the relationships
around you, the relationships.
Yeah.
You know, and some of us
capital.
Yeah, have not gotten to the point where, because we're repelling ourselves, we are also repelling good people from our life.
Right.
We're pushing people away.
Yeah.
So tell us some final words as we close out this beautiful conversation with the Chief Bliss Boss.
Yes. So, you know, recently my mother passed away. My mother and my father passed away within 11 months of each other, and my dog in December 26th, day after Christmas. And, you know, I was definitely in a place of gratitude, you know, and reflection, and knowing that I did all that I could do to support and was there every step of the way and very supportive with whatever decision was being made, because my mom was actually on her way back to Hawaii with me to finish her healing process. And so saying that to say that no matter, or I would say, with all of the things that life provides for us, opportunities to grow, to learn, to reflect, to honor the emotions that we experience, you know, be in touch with the feelings and the regrets, that I encourage all of us to stay aware and in present moment awareness of what's true for you and how you feel, and allow yourself to experience it. And when I say allow yourself to experience it, I'm saying not to wallow in it. I'm saying to honor it, to honor the sadness, to honor the depression, to honor the joy, you know, and to be grateful for it. Be grateful for the sadness, be grateful for the joy, be grateful for the death, you know. And after that occurred, after those three, because those three were the ones that, of course, you know, it wouldn't matter what they say. Not that I would always listen, because I'm going to do what I'm going to do, because I'm purposeful. I really got clear that the universe, Allah, God, however you refer to that high power, was making a way for me now to be able to continue to fulfill my purpose and serve humanity at such a level that I may not even be aware of yet. And that because I had that thought, I'm choosing to be prepared, be ready, and stay ready so I don't have to get ready, right? So that means being able to go within, be honest with myself about what's true for me and what I want. And so I encourage you to do the same thing. So the main thing to take away from this is to be in gratitude for all of the ebbs and the flow and the ups and downs, and say it out loud so that you shift that energy immediately when you put that gratitude on it.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And thank you, audience, for listening. We'll be back next week with another wonderful episode of Master Barber with Mu Shemsu-t. Have a good week.
Leaders of nonprofits empowering worlds. Let's go.
But the vision that God gave me, I felt that it was time for me to step out and work on the vision that God gave me.
We need look no further. We have a unique voice. We have a unique talent pool.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiabonga. Senegal, jaref. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.